you hope that the loudest voices are also the fewest in numbers sometimes.
That's a good...
Which is often the case.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I mean, if we perpetuate that belief, maybe it can help to disarm how much power those voices can have.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a thought. But let's get out of the deep end for a minute. The new album, love the new album. It's kind of like you said. You guys really, it sounds like you did a lot of experimentation when it comes to. I love the string arrangements, for example. I love the choral arrangements. I love the pitch pipe that you hear. What is the song?
Walk a Mile.
Walk a Mile. Yeah, Walk a Mile. I love that. As a former choir child myself, I heard that. I was like, oh, I know that sound. I immediately wanted to start trying to learn the harmonies right away. So hearing that, do you guys have a choral background, so to speak?
I do, yeah. So
Okay.
I did lots of choir singing as a kid, and I still do choir. I still sing in a choir in London now. Actually, yeah, I quite love singing in choirs.
That's fantastic. So yeah, so as soon as you guys came in and you started sound checking, and I heard the first pass in your harmonies, and they sounded great. And then the second pass was like locked up. all of your diction, all of your phrasing, your points, and your beginnings, and everything's like solid. I was like, oh, this has got to have. There's got to be a choir background here somewhere. So that's fantastic. So when it came to experimenting with the album, all of the different instrumentation you guys use, both live, you have the glockenspiel here in studio, and you have the Nord as well. So of all of the different samples, sounds, instruments that you guys use, do you guys have a favorite? Do you have one that you kept coming back to and you kept wanting to use?
Well, I mean, we have a very fond appreciation for that Casio tone.
Oh yeah, the Casio Tone 405.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a keyboard that I bought on eBay when we were living in Leeds as students. I paid £1.05 for it, which is very little money.
Love that.
To anybody who's not up in their conversion rates, trust me, it's not very much. Yeah, it's just got this lovely warm vintage sound. It's only got about 20 sounds on it. It's not a synthesizer, it's just a sort of keyboard, but I quite like that really. I find synthesizers actually a bit scary because the possibilities are so limitless. I don't know where to start, whereas I quite like preset sounds, and then in the studio you can reamp them, you can put them through kind of interesting pedals and delays and things, and blend them together and have a really nice time.
We've kind of gone throughout our career carrying us the same instruments. So Gus's keyboard setup hasn't really changed when it comes to writing since like when we were first writing in like 2008 in like our bedrooms. And like we've got another Yamaha keyboard that my friend borrowed from school.
Right.
And I asked him, can I have that keyboard? And he was like, yeah. I mean, it's not mine. And so we've had that keyboard on all of the albums.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's true. We kind of sort of like play with the presets. That's kind of just what we've done because we're not discovering new sonics. I think the songwriting is where all of the discovery is kind of sort of achieved.
Sure. I mean, these instruments, a lot of you're holding a guitar, we have a bass over there. Like these instruments have been used for hundreds of years, and yet we're still learning new ways to use them to craft new songs, new art. And I know that there are musicians out there that they get into the studio, and it's like you said, they sit down at all the knobs and buttons, and they get immediately overwhelmed. And sometimes that's a deal breaker, and they have to go back to the drawing board. So to hear that, you guys in particular, if you start with presets, like you said, you don't have to start from scratch. Start with something that's already there and tweak it how you like it.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with guitars. We change the strings, we change the pickups that we use, we change the amps that we run them through, just like you said. So I love to hear that part of your process. I really appreciate you sharing that. Seriously, that's such a great little piece of it, just for my own brain when I go back into the studio later this year. When it comes to writing like that, because lyrics are arguably the most important part of compositions to an audience that's looking for that kind of thing, right? Unless we're talking about jazz or instrumental music, different story. But the lyrics are the thing that ground the listener in the song and help them connect with it. So because of that, when you're writing that kind of lyrics, you have a really great, really unique way of composing those lyrics. Now, obviously, the construction of them is, again, very intentional, maybe down to the syllables. I don't know for sure, but and if that is the case, is that the case? Do you guys, is it like down by syllable by syllable, or how do you do it?
You go.
I mean, I sing quite rhythmically.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost similar to kind of rapping in
Sure.
a way, but I'm kind of more singing. But it kind of has this. It has a rhythm to how how I'm playing guitar and how I sing along to the guitar riff. But I mean, with writing, in regards to writing and writing lyrics, I think we've always believed in cataloging ideas, so that for rainy days. And I think one of the key things, particularly with this song and with a lot of the writing on this album, is that you're actually, you're trying to create airtight vignettes, like little moments that
Love
just
that.
are perfect, and then you join them with other vignettes, and then you kind of through that you weave an overall concept, and it kind of sort of like is the thread that holds all these vignettes together.
It's the overture, so to speak.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think that's kind of how it works.
You're very attached to your sort of notebooks and stuff, aren't you? You had a lovely one on this album that I called your spell book.
Yeah.
So it's like a big kind of leather bound, quite gothic notebook with like gold
Necromancer.
Yeah, exactly. The book of the dead,
Right.
or something. But it was a lovely thing, and actually for the first time we produced a nice special edition of the album, a CD, which is a hardback book with 30 pages literally from your notebook, didn't we?
They so we scanned all of the writing. So I didn't actually. This was an idea that our manager had, and I didn't plan for it to be published. But then they were like, you need to check the book over to see that if there's anything in there that you don't want to be published. And I was like, no, it's all fine. And then on the last time, our manager Catherine was like, you should really check, just check for me. And on like the third page, I was just like, oh yeah, they're my bank details.
So that's a really personal thing that you guys decided to share with your fans. Do you guys, because of that, I mean, you don't make that decision without already feeling some kind of a really deep connection with your fans. Do you feel that?
We did it to make money mainly.
Fair enough. Okay. Absolutely. And I mean, you're probably doing pretty well being on tour with Portugal the Man, and in the rooms that you guys are getting to play, the Sun Dome. That's no small space in the Tampa Bay area, that's for sure.
But I mean, to answer your question more seriously,
Apologies for that.
Listen, you're in America. Capitalism is absolutely encouraged here.
Yeah.
You're fine. Everything's good.
but I mean, it's like it's a private world, and it's almost a sanctuary. And I think that a lot of fans listening to our music probably have similar experiences when listening to our music. It's a private world. It's a sanctuary. It's somewhere where they can go and listen to, or escape and listen. That's. I mean, we've had a lot of wonderful feedback from fans. So I think we wanted to give them something special where this is how it begins, and this is what the world looks like when you're building. So yeah.
That's Alt J here on Live Music Showcase 88.5 WMNF. Thank you again so much, you guys, for coming in studio, being on their show. It means so much to me. It means so much to the crew here on the show, the radio station, and the Tampa Bay music scene in general, because you may not know, the Tampa scene is working very hard. A lot of the musicians in this area are working very hard to turn this city into the next music mecca, I guess you could call it. And there are people in the city that, there's a lot of talk, but there's a lot of movement too. And every time a band like you guys gives us a little bit of time, it really helps us to validate not only this station, but the music scene here in town too. So the impact of you guys being here, it really means the world to us. Thank you.
Well, we've had a lot of success here in America, and it's all thanks to radio stations like yours. So thanks for having us. We really appreciate the support.
Thank you.